So check this out. A group of commentators just went off on Caitlin Clark live on a streaming platform, and the whole WNBA world is seriously buzzing about it. They didn't hold back for even a second. No filters, no soft talk, just straight up raw opinions about Caitlin and her fans. The stuff they said was wild, super harsh, and honestly kind of disrespectful. It's got people asking, have these commentators gone too far? Or is this just what happens when you're a top athlete under that blinding spotlight? Here's how it all went down. On a show called Playback, a panel got together for what was supposed to be a normal sports discussion. But out of nowhere, the convo turned completely toward Caitlin Clark and her fan base, and that's when things exploded. These women didn't just criticize her, they absolutely tore her apart on stream. And we're not talking about mild feedback or honest analysis here. This was brutal. They went straight at her skills, her accomplishments, even the fans who ride for her. The whole tone felt icy and personal, like it wasn't even about basketball anymore. It sounded like someone had an axe to grind. Now here's the part that got everyone's attention. One of the panelists brought up how Caitlin's fans came into the WNBA hyped up, thinking she'd instantly take over the league. According to that person, those fans got hit with reality fast when Caitlin didn't dominate right out the gate. It was a bold statement that set the chat section on fire. She went on to say, yeah, Caitlin might have snagged Rookie of the Year. Sure, that's impressive. But she's up against real veterans out here. We're talking Aja Wilson, Breanna Stewart, and even her own teammate, Kelsey Mitchell. The message came across loud and clear. Caitlin just isn't at that superstar level her fans keep hyping her up to be, and everyone needs a serious wake-up call. Then she dropped the line that lit the internet on fire. She quoted Diana Taurasi saying, "This is a grown woman's game." And wow, that hit hard. The meaning couldn't be more obvious. Yeah, Caitlin dominated college ball, but the WNBA is a whole different beast. In this league, she's not the chosen one. She's just another player fighting to prove herself against women who've been grinding for years.
I agree with that, and I also think that that some of the new fans got a rude awakening when they did come to the W, because what happened was their fave was not the best. And so that was their issue. Like, I get that she was the Rookie of the Year. I understand that. But you're also battling and competing with people like Lisa Collier, with people like your own teammate, Kelsey Mitchell, with other people who, like we've all said, have been here for a while, like the Breanna Stewarts, who have been here. So I'm confused as to why, like Diane Taurasi said, this is a grown woman's game, baby. Yeah. So, but we're gonna change the subject.
The tone was ice cold, straight up dismissive and dripping with condescension. It felt like the panel was trying to put Caitlin and her fans right back in their place, like they'd gotten a little too confident. But get this, it somehow got even messier. After throwing all that shade, they suddenly switched topics like nothing happened. No defense, no follow-up, no accountability. Just a quick pivot, as if they hadn't just roasted one of the league's biggest names on livestream. It almost felt like they knew exactly what kind of storm they were about to cause, but didn't care enough to stand on it. And of course, the internet did what it always does. Within hours, the whole rant got clipped, reposted, and blasted all over social media. The reaction? Instant chaos. Caitlin's fans were fuming. They filled comment sections, quote tweeted the clips nonstop, and called out the panelists for being shady and disrespectful. What made it even wilder was what people started pointing out. Those same commentators never seemed to have a problem with the WNBA flying under the radar before Caitlin showed up. Now that she's brought in massive attention, suddenly they've got all this energy. But now that Caitlin's pulling in millions of new fans and shining a huge spotlight on the league, suddenly everyone wants to tear her down and call her overrated. The hypocrisy is unreal. It's like when the WNBA needed attention, everyone was quiet. But the second it blows up, people start acting salty. And here's where it really stings: the timing. The WNBA just wrapped up its biggest, most successful season ever. And let's be real, that's largely thanks to Caitlin Clark. Attendance numbers, way up. TV ratings, sky high. Jersey sales and merch, flying off the shelves. Social media, exploding like never before. The league pulled in more money this year than it has in decades. And all of it happened because Caitlin made people finally look at women's basketball with excitement.
People who support her. The whole tone was nasty. The comments were...
She's the reason millions of folks who never cared about the WNBA suddenly started watching, talking, and spending. But instead of celebrating that, a certain group, what people are calling the old guard of WNBA fans and some media voices, seem mad about it. They're annoyed that Caitlyn's getting more attention than the players they've supported for years. It's like they can't stand seeing the spotlight shift. They don't like that new fans are showing up for her, not for their longtime favorites. And instead of welcoming the change, they've turned bitter, taking every single chance to downplay her impact, twist her success, and throw shade at her fan base. It's wild, because Caitlyn's rise is lifting the entire league, yet some people act like it's a threat instead of a win. Let's be real for a second. This whole situation goes deeper than just basketball drama. Caitlin Clark is a white player in a league that's mostly made up of black athletes. And yeah, some people clearly have mixed feelings about her becoming the face of the WNBA. They feel like it's unfair that she gets way more media love and sponsorship deals, while plenty of black players, just as talented, maybe even more, don't get nearly the same spotlight. And to be fair, that frustration isn't coming out of nowhere. A lot of folks point out that brands and big media outlets always seem to gravitate toward Caitlyn instead of showing the same energy for the league's black stars. And honestly, there's some truth to that. The WNBA has had real issues with how it's promoted its players over the years, especially when it comes to visibility and fair coverage. That's a legit problem that definitely deserves attention. But here's the part that gets messy. Going after Caitlyn personally doesn't solve any of that. Tearing her down doesn't fix the system, it just makes the league look divided and bitter. If the goal is to give more shine to black players, then the solution is simple. Promote them properly, push their stories, celebrate their wins, and hype them up with the same energy Caitlyn gets. That's how you create balance. Because let's be real, Caitlyn is good. She's got real skill, she's putting in the work, and she's absolutely earned her spot. You can acknowledge her grind and still fight for fair recognition for others. Both things can be true at the same time. But what's even wilder is what those playback comments accidentally exposed. There's been this quiet tension bubbling all season long. Some longtime WNBA fans, the old school ones, seem almost relieved that the hype around Caitlyn is starting to fade now that the off-season's here. It's like they're low-key glad to see her shine dim a little instead of realizing that her success brought in the biggest wave of new eyes the league's ever seen. Now that the off-season's here, things are quiet. Too quiet. People aren't talking about the league like before. Social media engagement's dropping fast. YouTube views on WNBA content are dipping, and get this, some folks are celebrating it. They're actually happy things are going back to normal, like they'd rather have a tiny, tight-knit fan base that only cares about their favorite players than deal with millions of new casual fans who came in because of Caitlyn. And honestly, that mindset is wild when you really think about it. The WNBA has spent decades begging for attention, fighting to fill arenas, scraping for sponsorships, and watching players go overseas just to make a decent living. Then Caitlin Clark shows up and suddenly, boom, the league's getting more views, more headlines, and more buzz than ever before. She brought a wave of mainstream energy the WNBA's been chasing for years. But instead of embracing it, instead of figuring out how to keep that momentum alive, some people are rooting for the hype to fade. Like seriously, they're happy the buzz is dying down. They'd rather see things shrink back to how they used to be, with fewer fans, less attention, and smaller crowds, just so it feels comfortable again. That mindset is dangerous because here's the truth. The WNBA needs growth to survive. It needs sponsors, big TV deals, packed arenas, and merch flying off the shelves. You can't do any of that with a small niche audience. The league finally had a breakout moment, and if it slips back into obscurity, the same old problems come creeping back. Low salaries, poor playing conditions, and players heading overseas again just to get paid. And all this, just because some people couldn't handle that Caitlin Clark became the face of a new era. Instead of celebrating how she brought in a new generation of fans, they treated it like a threat. But here's the kicker. If new fans see that kind of attitude, they'll walk away fast. And once that excitement's gone, it's not easy to bring it back. Think about this for a second. Someone new starts watching the WNBA because of Caitlin Clark, right? They tune in, excited to see what all the buzz is about, and then they stumble across that stream where the panelists are mocking her and trashing her fans. What do you think they're gonna feel? Probably something like, why would I keep watching a league where the media seems to hate the player that got me interested in the first place? That's a horrible look for the WNBA, and it's pushing away the very people the league needs to keep around. And let's go back to that Rookie of the Year talk for a second, because that's where things really got messy. Those panelists admitted Caitlyn won it, but then instantly tried to brush it off, saying she's up against established stars. Like, come on, that's the whole point of being a rookie. Every first-year player has to face off against veterans. It's part of the grind. If anything, that makes her win more impressive. Caitlyn didn't just hold her own, she shined. She averaged over 19 points and 8 assists per game in her rookie season. Those are serious numbers, especially for someone just starting out. She led the entire league in assists, broke multiple rookie records, and helped turn the Indiana Fever from one of the weakest teams into a legit playoff squad. That's no small feat. It's the kind of season people remember for years. But apparently, some folks want to rewrite the story now that the season's over. They're trying to twist the narrative, acting like her accomplishments don't count anymore because it doesn't fit their agenda. During the season, even her biggest critics had to admit she was killing it because the stats, the wins, and the energy she brought to every game spoke for themselves. So when commentators try to downplay that now, it doesn't just make them sound biased, it exposes the whole double standard. Caitlyn earned everything she's achieved fair and square, and pretending otherwise doesn't make her look bad. It just makes the league look ungrateful for the star power that's helping keep it alive. Now that the season's over and there's no basketball being played, it's like people are taking advantage of the quiet to push these wild revisionist takes. You're seeing stuff like, she wasn't even that good, or her fans are just delusional. And of course, she only got attention because of her race. Some are even saying other rookies were just as good or better. It's obvious what's going on. Folks are deliberately trying to water down Caitlyn's accomplishments and rewrite the story to fit their own narrative. And yeah, the racial side of this situation is complicated. It's uncomfortable to talk about, but it's real and it has to be addressed. Caitlyn definitely benefits from being a white player when it comes to media coverage and brand deals. That's an undeniable truth. The sports world has always leaned toward hyping up white athletes more, and the WNBA is not immune to that. Black players with the same or even greater talent don't always get the same shine, and that's straight up unfair. But here's the key point. Taking that frustration out on Caitlyn personally doesn't fix anything. She didn't build the system. She's just playing within it and putting in the work. She's not the problem. It's the way the system is set up that needs to change. If the league and its media partners really wanted to fix that imbalance, they'd step up and promote everyone equally. They'd give stars like Aja Wilson, Brianna Stewart, and Sabrina Ionescu the same headline energy. They'd build stories around all of these incredible women because the talent across the WNBA is unreal. Imagine if they invested that same marketing power into every standout player instead of putting the entire spotlight on just one person. But that kind of effort takes real planning and consistent work, something too many people seem unwilling to do. At this point, it's like attacking Caitlyn and her fans has become the easy route. Instead of doing the hard work of fixing real issues, some people just find it simpler to throw shade her way. What makes it even more ridiculous is that Caitlyn's been nothing but respectful toward everyone in the league. She doesn't trash talk, doesn't act arrogant, and never puts herself above her teammates or opponents. She just shows up, grinds hard every night, and gives props where it's due. And let's be honest, handling the kind of pressure she's under isn't easy. She's easily the most talked about player in the WNBA right now, and with that comes non-stop scrutiny. Yet, she stayed composed, focused, and mature through it all. And this is how some people choose to treat her in return? It's wild. What makes this whole situation even more suspicious is the timing. That stream dropped right when the WNBA's dealing with labor negotiations and talk of a possible lockout. The league's already in a fragile spot. It needs unity, not chaos. This could have been the perfect time for everyone, players, media, and fans, to come together, push for better conditions, and build the league stronger than ever. Instead, you've got commentators stirring division, dragging the league's biggest name, and feeding drama that helps absolutely no one. It's like self-sabotage on full display. When the league should be presenting a united front, some people are out here tearing down the one player who brought in the most attention, money, and excitement in years. And here's the real question. What were those panelists even trying to accomplish with those comments? Did they actually think Caitlyn's fans would suddenly agree and say, yeah, she's overrated? Or did they think they were dropping some deep truth nobody else had noticed? Or maybe, just maybe, they were chasing clout, enjoying the attention that comes with saying something controversial? Because based on how fast they changed the topic after throwing all that shade, it sure seems like they knew exactly what they were doing. They wanted to get their hits in, stir the pot, and dip out before any real backlash hit. It's messy, it's petty, and it's exactly the kind of energy that keeps holding the league back when it should be thriving. This whole situation perfectly sums up the WNBA's biggest problem. It keeps tripping over its own success. Every time the league finally grabs real mainstream attention and financial momentum, something from the inside starts tearing it down. You've got players taking little digs at Caitlyn on the court, media folks downplaying her accomplishments, and panelists blasting her on live streams like it's a sport of its own. It's wild because all that energy ends up hurting the league way more than it helps. There's this strange self-destructive streak running through the WNBA's culture right now, and fans are seriously over it. They're tired of seeing the league shoot itself in the foot again and again. They're tired of the double standards, where Caitlyn gets dragged for things other players do with zero backlash. They're tired of the non-stop negativity, the drama, and the fake controversies that keep taking the spotlight away from the actual game. At the end of the day, people just want to enjoy good basketball and support talented players without all the extra noise. The league finally had everything lined up. New fans flooding in, massive media coverage, merch flying off shelves, and money finally flowing in. It could have been a golden era of growth, a turning point for women's sports. But instead of building on that success, we're back to the same cycle of chaos, infighting, petty shade, and ego battles that drag everything down. It's like the league can't get out of its own way. And the saddest part, a lot of that dysfunction is coming from people who say they love the WNBA, folks who claim they want it to grow. But when that growth actually happens, they can't handle the change that comes with it. Instead of embracing the moment and welcoming new energy, they push it away. The league was finally on the verge of something huge, and now it's fighting to keep from slipping right back into old habits that have held it back for years. So now the real question is, where do you stand in all this? Were those panelists totally out of pocket for going after Caitlyn like that? Or do you think they actually had a point about how the league promotes different players? Because let's be real, this debate isn't ending anytime soon. The tension between old school fans, new viewers, and the league itself is only heating up, and it's shaping what the future of the WNBA could look like. Caitlyn Clark has become way more than just a player. She's a symbol for change, controversy, and the spotlight women's basketball has been chasing for years. So what's your take? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear what you think about all this. And hey, if you enjoyed this breakdown and want to keep up with the latest WNBA drama, updates, and real talk, make sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment below. Let's keep this conversation going.